We are back inside City Hall. 2 years ago, our next guest won 43% of the vote when he challenged Vito Fossella for his congressional seat that represents Staten Island and parts of Brooklyn. This time, he won't have to worry about Fossella, who is stepping down from office, but he does face a tough Democratic Party fight with a popular city councilman who has received his party's backing. Joining us to discuss the campaign is Brooklyn attorney Steve Harrison. So nice to see you tonight, Steve. Here we go again.
Thank you, Dominic, for having me back. It's good to see you again.
Well, you're up against Mike McMahon, a popular city councilman who has a lot of party support. How are you going to win this thing?
Well, you know, people asked that question the last time. We got 43% of the vote. We outspent $1.7 million to $130,000.
But you didn't have a primary.
No, we didn't have a primary, but this time we're running and basically doing the same thing on this side. What we're doing is making sure that we put a lot of shoe leather to the ground. We have a lot of phone banking going on and a lot of canvassing, and I have very high hopes that that's going to have its effect. I also think it's very fair to say that on both sides of the bridge, I'm very, very well known as a result of the race that we ran in 2006. And that's carrying through, and we're beginning to see that pay off.
But the Democratic Congressional Committee has basically said they are going to help Mr. McMahon.
The Democratic National Committee, I think, is making a mistake. It's one of the first times that they've actually endorsed somebody not for as a candidate that's been chosen by the people of the district, but they've decided that they're going to actually give money to Mr. McMahon at this time and help decide who the person is that's going to be representing the district. And I think that's undemocratic, and I think that the people in the district are beginning to feel that too.
Have you had any contact with the telephone conversations or whatever with the Democratic Congressional Committee?
We had a lot over the last 2 years. Why they've chosen Mr. McMahon, only they can tell you that at this point. Remember, I'm the one that came into this with 43% of the vote in my pocket. We only had to make up 7%, and in view of what we've been doing for the last 2 years, we've consistently been running. We feel that we would have made that up rather easily.
Let's talk about Mr. Fossella for a second.
Sure.
DWI charge, allegedly a second family in Washington while he's married. Does that disqualify a person from Congress?
Whether it disqualifies him or not would be left up to the people who decide to vote for him if he had stayed in until November. In the long run, I think that Congressman Fossella made the right decision here not to run again. And I'm glad he didn't step down because it would have left us without a congressman for too long. So I do appreciate the fact that he did that.
Was he a good representative for the district?
If I felt that he was a good representative, presented us again in view of what did occur.
Well, with this Democratic primary that you have against Mike McMahon, what does this primary, now let's put aside the general election, what's the bottom line on this primary? What does it come down to?
This is going to be a very small turnout. We're probably talking less than 20,000 people total, and probably 10 to 15,000 will win this. We believe that's quite doable, and I think it neutralizes the money advantage that he has. The reason for it is because you can literally call just about everybody that you can expect to win, expect to be involved in this. The other point to know is that Mike is a conservative Democrat, moderate to conservative, I think is the way he bills himself. I am a progressive, and the people who come out in these types of primaries tend to be from the left, and I think that favors me.
Well, in terms of the issues, one of them happens to be traffic, and you were against congestion pricing.
That's correct. I was against congestion pricing because I felt that it's a tax on the middle class, and it's a regressive tax on the middle class in Staten Island and in Brooklyn. The vast majority of the people in our district felt that way. Mike McMahon voted for congestion pricing, and I do believe that that's going to come back to haunt him. Also, I believe it will come back to haunt him in the general election because if I don't bring it up at this point, certainly the Republicans will.
So what's your answer to solving the horrific, the massive traffic issue as it relates to the people in the District of Staten Island?
Money, same thing that would have come from congestion pricing. The only thing is I believe that what we really need is a commuter tax that would be dedicated and actually given to the MTA in order to devote it to alternative transportation or public transportation. According to the mayor's own report, that would produce double in 1 year anything that congestion pricing would have produced, and I think it's something that would be more palatable to the people of the city of New York.
If Mike McMahon is the Democratic nominee, if he wins this, are you going to support him?
We'll see when we come there. What I will say is this, is that I'm absolutely confident that a Democrat will be the next congressman from Staten Island and Brooklyn.
And so, in looking at this district, what are the top issues as far as the way you see things?
The economy and the war, and transportation when it comes to local issues. All three of them are something that we'll be addressing a lot, and I think that without any question, I'm on top of those and have been for the last 2 years.
You just said that Mr. McMahon bills himself as a conservative, I believe was the word you used. You say you're a progressive. What are the differences between yourself and Mike McMahon?
Well, when it comes, you know, you'd have to take it issue by issue. You know, you had the congestion pricing. I was against it. He was for it. He had a tax issue. He raised the taxes on, you know, 15 or 18% back in 2003. I opposed it at that time, right on your show, as a matter of fact. When it comes to, for example, the war, I want to have an immediate withdrawal. Mike feels that we should leave residual forces there. I disagree with him on that. And there's many more issues of that nature, but you'll find out that there are significant differences between us that the Democrats of the district are going to have to decide who in fact is the person who is most electable, and I believe that they'll make that determination in my favor.
You were already facing an uphill battle, even though you got 43% of the vote the last time around. If the Democratic establishment is not with you, why make this run?
Well, it's the Democratic establishment. I think that you're hitting it right there. This is basically a grassroots campaign. This is the grassroots against the machine. I'm the grassroots, and I believe that the grassroots are the people who are going to make the determination in this primary. And I believe that they're also going to be making the determination, the people who are looking for change in the general election. That's why I believe that I should be running.
What about those that will say you may end up hurting the nominee if it is Mr. McMahon with this primary?
I don't believe that that's true. I think that anything I bring it up, for example, congestion pricing, these are just issue against issue, and without question, these are things that will be brought up by the Republicans, so it's not going to make that difference.
Attorney Steve Harrison, we will see how this race plays out. We look forward to chatting with you in the future, as well as Councilman McMahon and the Republican candidate as this race proceeds. Thank you very much.
Be back in October. Thank you.
Okay, we will see. It is now time for a break. When we come back, I will have the results of tonight's snap poll. Stay with us.